Welcome to the Prado Museum in Madrid, and we are here again with our weekly session in English on the museum's social media programming, a project that's sponsored by American Friends of the Prado Museum and our supporters. We encourage everyone to find out about what we do to help this museum, and we're here today in the Gothic galleries, once again with this monumental work that is the image of Saint Michael, the Archangel, defeating the dragon. And I say monumental because it is a very large panel, originally would have been painted on wood, and part of a larger altarpiece that would have had other images next to it, of images probably of Michael, we don't know because this is just based in comparison, and images of the donors, because the data that we do know about this painting was that it was purchased by the board of the Prado Museum in 1929 from the Hospital of St. Michael in Zafra. Okay, so we do not know the painter's identity, and this is the wall panel, and you see here it's called the Maestro de Zafra, which means the master painter of Zafra. Zafra is the name of a town that is in the area of Badajoz in southwestern Spain. And it was a very important city in the county or the countship of the Counts of Feria, who later will be the Dukes of Feria. And we do know from documentation that this was probably commissioned by the second Count of Feria sometime between the 1490s and 1505 to be part of the altarpiece in the Hospital of Zafra. And the hospital in Middle Ages means a little bit different than what we know today. It would be a place of healing, yes, but also a place as a charitable institution sponsored by the Counts of Feria, and it would be a place for the poor to be able to sleep and have refuge, or travelers or anyone who was in need could be here. And we know that this was for the chapel of that hospital. And so it was for the sick and the travelers that were taking refuge there. Okay, the image we see is of Saint Michael dressed as a medieval knight in full armor, with very richly decorated, but full armor all the way. His arms are completely protected with gloves, his breastplate, chainmail, all the way down, completely protected, kind of like in tournament armor, all the way to his feet. And with this beautiful shield, and with so much decoration, pearls, rubies, and the theme is that Michael is victorious over the dragon. And this is taken from the book of Revelation in the Bible, the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation, and it's chapter 12, 7 through 9. And I would just like to read this to give us context. It says, "Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, the ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the world astray and is the great deceiver. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him." So this is the fallen angel who, there's a war in heaven, and Michael with the angels and his armies defeat the dragon who is below his feet. And so there's this great movement from top to bottom, dynamism from top to bottom, where Michael and his armies at the top are kind of stereotyped angels here with their cloaks and praying that they are symmetric and they are pushing down, they're all fighting. They have these warrior angels here also have swords and shields, all with this convex kind of mirror in them that's similar to St. Michael's shield. And as they're coming out, you'll see the metamorphosis, the change of these angels that are deceiving, and they're turning into dragons as they're falling out of heaven and being pushed out of heaven. So this was very widely represented in the 12th and the 13th centuries. And the painter, I'd like to say, since we don't know who he is, we do have clues about him, also based on the painting type. And this is in the very end of the 1400s. But there's the shield here with the convex mirror, and has the reflection within that mirror. And it is a self-portrait. We believe it's a self-portrait of the artist. So the artist is someone who has a self-awareness and who has seen this type of artifice and sophistication, visual artifice, already happen. And so we can think of, where does this come from? The first one that comes to mind is the Arnolfini marriage by John van Eyck, which was painted in the 1430s. We also have documentation of the time that the King of Aragon had a painting by John van Eyck with also another convex mirror, and everyone was fascinated by the reflection. And so this was kind of the triumphant style of painting in the 15th century, even though we know of the Quattrocento Italian Renaissance. This is the type of refined Flemish tradition that is very popular as well. And so we do believe that this artist would either be Spanish trained in Flemish painting, or a foreigner who has traveled to southern Spain, which was very active with painters, very highly qualified painters, but that we've lost a lot of the documentation, and would have traveled to this area of Badajoz, Zafra, and would have painted there the commissions of the second Count of Feria for this hospital. And so just a moment about the Count of Feria. He was a great supporter of Isabel the Catholic. This is contemporary time. He supported her and her struggles as a young queen to be verified on the throne. And then he also participated as a warrior with the reconquest of Granada with Isabel and Ferdinand, the Catholic kings. And so he was a warrior, and he would probably identify with Saint Michael as protector of knights, noblemen, knights, and then this image, knightly image, and of course he's differentiated thanks to the wings, that he's an angel and he's not just a medieval knight. The Count of Feria would identify with him as his protector, but then also it would be very appropriate for the sickly and the poor in the hospital of St. Michael, because Michael was also revered and as an intercessor before death. There's a document where someone is in this time period wounded, and mortally wounded, and he prays to St. Michael, "St. Michael, help me stay alive until a priest can give me my last unction and votes before death, and prepare me for death to save my soul." So he was an interceder for the soul of people before death, and he was also an image of knights and noblemen. So this is this beautiful image, altar central panel, we believe, of a large altarpiece, which we've lost all of the rest of the other images. We don't know where they are. We don't know of any other works of this painter. Hopefully someday one will come out and it'll help us identify further, but this is his origin, and a beautiful image, worthwhile to come see this gallery. And thank you very much for being with us today, and we will see you again next week.